Would you like to learn how the American math curriculum works in 15 minutes? Then join me on this journey. Let's begin. Taking good notes, applying yourself to excellence, but here some direction. The story of mathematics. We're going to start with the curriculum perspective and then stay tuned in the coming weeks for the historical perspective on the history of mathematics. My name is Amos Tarfa. I'm the director of Life STEM Academy and Life LLC. Today I want to talk to you about math curriculums in America. I'm going to talk to you about the whole journey. This is going to be a quick video, so I want to encourage you to get a notebook, a pen, a place to write, because you're going to learn a lot about how math is taught, what the challenges are, and why you should reconsider how you teach mathematics. First thing I'm going to tell you right away is that mathematics is one of the only subjects that should not be taught based on grade level or age. I repeat, mathematics is one of the only subjects that should not be taught based on grade level or age. Why is that? Because math requires mastery for every step of the journey. So if you're in 9th grade and you haven't mastered fractions, then you shouldn't be doing Algebra 2, right? You need to master fractions in order to do rational expressions, and so on and so forth. You see what I'm getting at? Now, here's what's interesting. When you study math history, which is something we love to do, there are books like Journey Through Genius, there's books like The World of Mathematics. These are books which we have at Life STEM Academy, by the way. But these books talk about the history of math. And one thing you would learn about people like Isaac Newton and James Clerk Maxwell and so on and so forth is that these guys were learning the concepts, they understood the concept, they mastered the concept, then they moved on to the next step, right? So if you don't master a concept, you will struggle on the next one. So here at Life STEM Academy and at Life LLC, we want students to master the concept. So we're going to talk about what this all means, starting from the very beginning. So first of all, right there, we have the list of math classes that are taught in America. Elementary school math, which deals with a lot of arithmetic. And by the way, it actually does include some pre-algebra. That word pre-algebra is actually pretty misleading because people think, my son is in 6th grade. If you give him pre-algebra, that's scary. No, actually, when you start doing addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, you're doing pre-algebra. That's all before algebra. And so pre-algebra is a long journey. But ultimately, again, we start with elementary school math, which is basic addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Once they get to 4th grade, however, I encourage families to make sure that they're working on their number sense. Make sure you're working on fine-tuning your ability to estimate and round. You're working with numbers and being comfortable with the numbers, right? So addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. That's really the foundation. And we can draw this like a house, right? We can think of a house. The foundation is this. This is the foundation of the house, right? You need a solid foundation before you go to the next level, and so on and so forth. So 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, a lot of multiplication songs are out there, but try your best to master these fundamentals, right? And even get into some division. Clocks, calendars, that's exciting stuff. But from 4th grade at Life STEM Academy, I give students the opportunity to actually be in pre-algebra as a formal course. Now, they can do that in addition to their own specific Singapore math or Math Mammoth, but this pre-algebra course we have actually will be a good supplement for students, and it will guide them on how to take notes. It will guide them on how to study for tests. And so they could do that pre-algebra course, and if they flourish and are excelling in it, we move them right into algebra. So we can have a student in 5th grade in algebra, and that's not a problem at all, if they're ready for it. And if they need more time, that's fine. But as long as we know where we're headed. Where are we headed? We're heading to calculus. Beautiful field of mathematics. We want every student in America to take calculus for fun. Even if they want to become a nurse and say, I don't want to use calculus. It is just such a beautiful subject. So why not learn it well? Why not learn what you need to do it well, right? Okay, let's stay on task here. So we start with addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. We move our way into prime numbers. That's the beginning of the story of American math curriculums, right? And curriculums around the world, honestly. You're working on the fundamentals. Now, in our book, Tools for Mastering Mathematics, which you can email or go on our website to see, we have all the topics listed in more detail. All the topics that are taught to kids from elementary all the way to calculus. And so you can look at the list and use it as a guide as you work your way to calculus. So we master our fundamental principles here, and then we move into the arena of fractions, decimals, percents, ratios and proportions. Now notice that with fractions, you need to know how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide them. With decimals, you need to know how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide them. And then you need to know how to convert from fractions to percents, percents to fractions, fractions to decimals, decimals to fractions, decimals to percents, percents to decimals, and so on and so forth. So this piece here is what many people talk about when they say pre-algebra. And so we're going to spend quality time mastering these principles here. And if you understand these principles well, then it will lead into the algebra sequence and you'll be able to flourish there. So let's take a quick recap. You mastered the elementary principles of arithmetic in elementary school generally. You work your way into pre-algebra. We do not restrict your math learning at LifeSTEM Academy to any grade level because we do not believe that that is right, in the sense that every concept needs to be mastered and children master things at different rates. So what we do instead is we help you master the principles and keep moving on. Okay, so that's how we would help families, is help every child to master the principles they need to do and then move ahead. I want to encourage families to stay tuned this year. By God's grace, we're going to have a lot of opportunities for families to come in and do math workshops and math reviews and math pedagogy and discussions about all this stuff. So families, please stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed to our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, so that you can see when these events are being hosted. I would love to sit down with families and just discuss how to help your child flourish in their math ability. So after you do pre-algebra, so you've done elementary mathematics, you've gone into pre-algebra, which pre-algebra course is available now, and there's a huge discount. You can use the link in the description to sign up, or you can email me if you want me to send you the details for the course. But please use the link in the description to sign up for the pre-algebra if you want to start working on that this summer. You move into a field called algebra. This is where things get very interesting, because these topics right here are considered Algebra 1 in many schools. But here's what's very interesting. Some of these topics are also in the standard Algebra 2 textbook. So then the question becomes, and this is part of why I actually stopped teaching full-time in 2013, was to focus on writing math curriculum that helps people learn math efficiently. So instead of doing these in Algebra 1 and then repeating half of them in Algebra 2, imagine if you just took Algebra 1 and Algebra 2, you take all the concepts, you factor, you take out all the concepts that they share and teach it once and teach it well. Imagine if you did that. That means your child can master the principles in less time and they can move on to discover, why do I exist? What careers am I interested in? How can I serve my community? If you reduce the amount of time they're doing busy work and repeating stuff that they don't need to be learning again and again, that gives them more time, that frees them up. And that's what we want to do at LifeSTEM Academy and Life LLC. We want students to have more time to invest in the things that matter to them and ultimately to the things that matter, period, right? Helping their neighbors, serving their families, discovering why they exist. These are the things that really matter to us. We teach with that in mind. Efficiency, so students have time. So this is Algebra 1, but as I said, some of it is Algebra 2. What we do at LifeSTEM is we want to teach this once and teach it well. So students will learn about equations, solving different types of equations. Then they learn about graphing. But here's what's interesting about graphing. It's taught actually about 4 times in the curriculum. It's taught in Algebra 1, Algebra 2, Geometry, and Pre-Calculus. So why not teach it here and teach it well? And teach students how to take good notes. Because if I have good notes on graphing, then I can refer back to those notes as I move on in my career. Then students work on inequalities, which is closely tied to equations. If you know how to solve equations, you'll be pretty good at solving inequalities. The difference, again, is the notation. Then they work on systems of equations. You need to know how to solve equations in order to do systems of equations, right? So there's a connection, again, between all of these topics here, right? So that's a good Algebra 1 base. The topics here, a lot of them are actually taught in Algebra 2 as well. So at LifeSTEM Academy, again, we teach Algebra 1 and Algebra 2 together and we hit it hard. And then our students can take the CLEP College Algebra and get the credit for their Algebra 2. See, Algebra 2 and College Algebra are the same thing in many schools. It's the same thing. So therefore, why not take the CLEP College Algebra after you finish the sequence of Algebra 1, Algebra 2, so you can go ahead and get the college credit. So you do those, you move into polynomials, factoring, rational expressions, radicals, and quadratics. You get those and you master those well. This will take you through all of Algebra 1 into Algebra 2, and that leads us to the next section right here, which is going to be functions. Here's what's interesting with functions. Now, a lot of you know about my passion for math education and efficiency, but please know that there's a reason we do this, right? We want students to be passionate about what matters. And so if you don't mind, I just want to tell you something quickly about Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and Pre-Calculus. Algebra 1, do it well and get it right. Equations, graphing, inequalities, systems of equations, and all of that. But when you get into Algebra 2 and Pre-Calculus, I did a study comparing Algebra 2 and Pre-Calculus, and I found something interesting. If you were to delete Algebra 2, so let's say you went from Algebra 1 to Pre-Calculus, if you were to delete Algebra 2 completely, that student will not skip a beat, like a heartbeat, right? They won't skip it at all. They would literally just go into Pre-Calc like nothing happened. That means that Algebra 2 or Pre-Calc, right, there's a repetition that is unnecessary. So what I want to encourage families to see is to see the big picture. That's the point of this video. I've laid out all the math that we teach in America, from kindergarten to calculus, right behind me, the big topics, the big themes. And what I'm trying to say is, why don't we remove any wasted time? And so I am sorry, Algebra 2 teachers. I appreciate the work you're doing, but there needs to be more interaction between Algebra 2 teachers and Pre-Calculus teachers so that we're not wasting time for everybody. Wasting time for the teachers, wasting time for the students. Because Algebra 2, which focuses a lot on functions, right? College Algebra talks a lot about functions, but a lot of Pre-Calculus textbooks actually start with the same material. There are some Pre-Calculus textbooks that are written by the same author that it's as if they copied and pasted the material, the same material. So what should we do instead? Every student should have a master list of every topic they need to be learning, like an inventory, a personalized inventory. So when they go into a new class, they can tell the teacher, I have mastered rational equations. I have mastered how to work with quadratic functions, and I struggle with right triangle trigonometry, for example. So then at that point, the teacher can zoom in on what that student needs. Now, that is where homeschooling wins the trophy, because with homeschooling, you have less students in one setting, right? And you can help them to master every topic they need. So our curriculum is written for homeschoolers, but it can be used by anybody in any setting. So functions are discussed in Algebra 1 sometimes, they're discussed in Algebra 2, and they're discussed in Pre-Calculus. At Lifestem Academy, we're going to just help you master these concepts and get it right. So here, you finish Algebra 1 and 2, you've done the CLEP test for Algebra 2, for example, then you focus your attention on Pre-Calculus and take the CLEP test for that. Now you've gotten 6 college credits. Before, sometimes 11th grade. You already have 6 college credits sitting there for you in math. And so this is the functions section. Again, every branch of functions can be covered before the student then wraps it up with matrices, sequences, and series binomial theorem. That brings us to the end of Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and the college algebra component of Pre-Calculus. The only thing left of Pre-Calculus after you're done with the college algebra is actually trigonometry. And with the trigonometry, you're going to learn right triangle trigonometry, you're going to learn trigonometric identities, and you're going to learn the graphs of trig functions. That is it when it comes to all of Pre-Calculus for the most part in many schools. You do your college algebra component and the trigonometry component. Let's begin to land our plane. After you've done elementary school mathematics, you've done Algebra 1, or elementary school mathematics and pre-algebra, you've done Algebra 1 and Algebra 2, you've done Pre-Calculus, what is left? Well, geometry and statistics. You could do those right there by themselves, right? We will do a different video where I dive into geometry and my concerns for how geometry is taught in America. But what you realize is that in some geometry courses, they actually teach you how to graph. The same graphing that you learned in Algebra 1. The same thing, no different. Y is equal to mx plus b. They also teach you right triangle trigonometry. But we did that in Pre-Calculus. Are you beginning to see all the repetition and waste of time in American math curriculum? I'm hoping that we can have a more comprehensive guide, and that's what we did with Tools for Mastering Mathematics. The second edition of Tools for Mastering Mathematics is coming out this summer, and if you're interested in that, please send me an email. All our students are going to get that copy for free, so please, if you're a Lifestem Academy student, expect to get that second edition, and if you're interested in signing up, please reach out. My email, amostarfa1@gmail.com, is the perfect email to use. So, we're going to talk about, again, Tools for Mastering Mathematics, all the details of all the topics. We're going to zoom into all those topics later in a different video, but I will do one on geometry. We're going to extract right triangle trigonometry. We're going to extract plane geometry because we know how to find the area perimeter of shapes. That was covered in pre-algebra. And we're going to extract, so we've extracted those two, and we're going to extract trigonometry and all of that, put it into pre-calculus. So we'll put that in pre-calculus. We'll put plane geometry by itself in pre-algebra, and we can guide you through to the next step, which is get into calculus. When you've mastered all these principles, our goal is to get to calculus. The beautiful art is in a form, it's like an art form in terms of just the beauty of how you solve the problems. Of course, it's mathematics. Calculus and a lot of that came from our work of studying the solar system, of studying astronomy and gravity and some of those things. Isaac Newton and Gottfried Leibniz are the people that are usually attributed as the founders of calculus. And in our math course, we teach you a little bit about the story of calculus. This is in the 1600s. We're right around 1661 at this point. Between 1661 and 1680, there was huge advancements in the study of calculus. And then in the 1700s, Leonhard Euler came and he gave us more in that field. So let's land our plane with this. Lifestem Academy wants to take, and Life LLC, we want to take students from wherever they are at. And we want to guide them from the beginning of mathematics, the journey, all the way to calculus with a smooth ride as they learn how to navigate different practice skills and different study skills so they can flourish in their math journey. We want you to flourish in your math journey. That's what this is all about. And so let us know if you have questions. If you'd like to sign up for our after-school tutoring, we're taking students now. So let's say you attend a different school, but you want to come to the building here for tutoring. You're welcome to do that. We offer tutoring from 4 p.m. to later in the evening. There's an hour block, so 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m., and so on, depending on enrollment. We have those options available to you. So there's after-school tutoring. If you attend Lifestem Academy, you're going to be learning math with this path of mastery from the beginning to the end. And our dream and hope is that we can raise the next generations of Newtons and James Clerk Maxwell's and Joanne Bernoulli's and so on and so forth. We want people that master mathematics and use it as an opportunity to be a blessing to the world in whatever field they choose. I hope this has been helpful to study all of math. Let me know if you have any questions. Take care and have a blessed day.